and welcome to my channel. I'm Mandi, author of 10 young adult novels so far, 8 of which I'm pretending I'm rewriting this year. And welcome to vlog 32 of that adventure. This week, we're focusing on just a final perusal of Much's book, which sounds easy, but probably won't be, given how Much's book has gone so far. But basically, we're just looking for things to cut, because it's 579 pages, which is ridiculous. My goal is to get it down to 530, which doesn't sound a lot smaller, but that's what we're shooting for. And so I'm just going through and, like, any scenes that aren't furthering Much's story, or just random, I'm cutting. I already know one that I need to cut, which I think will be the first to go, which is one of the childhood scenes. I cut a lot of the childhood scenes during the rewrites, kept a couple of them. There's one that's definitely keeping, because it's like the moment that created his wound, his misbelief that he has no value. So that one is staying. But there's another one that, like, I had in there to emphasize that he played in the secret passages as a child, and then there's also a brief interaction with Marion, because otherwise I had no scenes with Marion until we come back from the Crusades, which is like halfway through the book, and it was like, she means nothing to the reader, even though Much kind of views her as like a sisterly person. Anyway, so I was trying to make the reader care about her before we come back, but the scene is kind of pointless, so it's gonna go. And I can add, if I want Marion, like an adult scene between the two of them, but I don't think I have to. Yeah, this weekend I'm going to be putting everything on Draft to Digital and KDP, and so it's all set and ready for publication next week. Yeah, that's about what's up. September 9th is publication day. I will have a live stream on my channel. I don't know who will be on that live stream or what it will look like. I don't know. It's all up in the air right now. But it'll be fun. And you could win a signed copy of my book, perhaps. Yeah. That's what I've got for now. I actually just went over my goals from August. My writing group does like a monthly goal review thing, and I wasn't able to get on the Zoom call to do it with everyone, but I did it myself. Which wasn't nearly as much fun, but I did it. August was not a good month, you guys. We published The Legend of the Thief, which is amazing. We published a book, and it's beautiful, and I love it, and I'm proud of it, and it's great. Aside from that, it was a terrible month. I was unmotivated and cranky and tired and just fatigued and not caring about anything. August was a bad month. It was a bad month. But, moving into September, it's gonna be fine. So, goal number 1 is publishing Much's book, The Journey of the Peacekeeper. We only have like a week and 2 days until that happens, so it's fine. And then after that, I'm going to start working on self-edits for Dusty's book and getting it to my editor in a timely fashion, because her book publishes next. And then, if I do Dusty's book in a timely fashion, which, given how I did Much's book, which took like a month and a half, it's unlikely, but The Legend of the Thief, I can't even speak, The Legend of the Thief took 3 days. So, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see which one of those, or somewhere in the middle, Dusty becomes. But hopefully, I get it done in a timely fashion, get it to my editor. We'll have a couple of weeks of free time to work on finishing Alan's half-finished manuscript, because I never finished rewriting Alan's book. So, I put that tentatively on the end of September. And we'll see from there. Friday's update. Yes, I am in a towel. I'm actually at my grandparents' house because I'm pet sitting for the weekend. And if anyone was here 3 years ago, the last time I was pet sitting, that was like the most productive week I've ever had, ever, in terms of like reading and writing and filming and uploading YouTube videos. Like, that was a crazy week. I'm hoping it's just a like lucky house situation, and that will happen again this weekend because I need to be productive. Incidentally, the cat's name is Lucky, so that might also have something to do with it. No, I mean it doesn't, but I'm gonna try and like placebo effect this house into making me very productive. I actually have a bit of a head cold, and I, for some reason that I will never understand, even though I was the one who did it. Yeah, I filmed some videos this morning while I had a headache and a stuffy nose and a sore throat and felt like I was dead inside. I don't think I'd even brushed my hair. I just pulled it back in a ponytail. You know what? I was too sick to think clearly. But anyway, there are several videos that I did that with. We're rolling with it. I'm not redoing it. Whatever. I'm in town now. Anyway, I just had a shower and I'm feeling better. My throat's still a little sore and my nose is still doing strange things, which sometimes makes it a little bit difficult to talk. But I'm not feeling dead inside, so we're gonna get started on my very long list of things that I want to get done by Monday, because on Monday morning, Much's book has to be uploaded to Draft to Digital and KDP and just ready for publication, because guys, we have until next Friday. Publication is on Friday. That's a week from now. Today's Friday. Oh gosh, we're all gonna die. It's fine. My very long list of things. Okay. Number 1 is chopping Much's book down to 530 pages. That seems like a somewhat arbitrary number, but that's what we're going for. So, with that, oh good lord. So, I'm going to be going scene by scene. Just read one scene and not like skim it or try to go through it quickly or anything. I'm just going to read one scene and decide if it is relevant information, if it's pushing Much's story forward, yada yada. If the answers to those questions are yes, it can stay. Otherwise, I'm deleting it. That's basically that. And then once I've gone through the whole book, I have great expectations for myself. It took a month and a half to read the book the first time around, but I expect to go through it multiple times this weekend. I'm a crazy person. Anyway, yep. So, yes, after the scene-by-scene thing, through all 579 pages, which hopefully will get it down to 530, but even if it doesn't, we've got more. I'm going to go chapter by chapter in Pro Writing Aid and stick it in there, and when Pro Writing Aid says, this is an unnecessary word, I'm going to say, you're right, Pro Writing Aid, let me delete that. And hopefully that, over the course of the whole book, will also add up to a number of things that have been deleted. So there you go. But, unfortunately, there's possibly also going to be some additions, which may make things interesting. So in reading through the entire book, when it comes to the major character death, that specific scene was okay, but the scenes that came before it were very rushed. So like, we're kidnapping the king from this prison that he's been in this whole time, and the gang just sort of waltz in there and gets the king out. Just like that, which is not super interesting, like, at all. There's no struggle. It's unbelievable. I also don't describe anything, so yeah, that entire section will need to be reworked. I don't know how, but reworked. And when I read through it, I believe I separated that scene into its own chapter break, even though it's not a chapter length of stuff yet, because I knew that I needed to come back to it and make it a chapter. So yes, there's that. I really want to add a scene somewhere in there. It doesn't even have to be large, or it could be, I don't know. Maybe this will also fit into the rescuing the king thing, I don't know. But I need a scene where the group uses Arabic to communicate in some way. Like if there's other people and they don't need people, like want people to know what they're doing or what, like I need the gang to use Arabic in some fashion. Maybe more than once, because Much often talks about learning Arabic with Dusty, because that's her native language, and that's it. Like, there's no point. I like that it happens, I like that it's like a bonding thing, whatever, they're all learning Arabic together, but they don't ever use it, and I feel like it would be better if those, like, lesson scenes came to fruition somehow, you know? It'd be more satisfying. So I'd like to add a scene with Arabic. Yeah. Oh, and then the last thing on my list in terms of Much is that I cut a rescue scene the other day, which I don't know if I did that on camera or not, but anyway, I cut a rescue scene the other day in the very last chapter because it was rescuing Faith, the girl who just shows up at the end of the story for no reason. I don't know, 17-year-old me was just adding characters at all points in the story, and none of them do anything to further anyone's anything. They're just ridiculous. But anyway, yeah, Faith shows up at the very end of the story and does nothing. So, yeah, it was pointless and stupid. We didn't need to see us rescuing them, because they don't add anything to Much's story, or anyone's story for that matter. They don't need to be there at all. But, because I'm not rewriting Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, and those characters play a role in Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace, they have to stay. And I actually like Faith's role in Return to Sherwood and Return to Grace. But she's pretty pointless in the original series, and I'm making her more irrelevant because I just chopped more of her in Much's book, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's Much, basically. The other thing I want to do this weekend, if I have time, which I will not, but I put it on my list anyway, is that I would like to draft more of Alan's story, because, oh my goodness, you guys, my cover designer sent me the cover for Alan's book, and I just died. Like, I was screaming internally, not out loud. Oh my gosh. Guys, it's amazing. I cannot wait to share it. It's so good. But in order to get me the final cover wrap, she has to know how long the book is, like page count wise. So I need to know. I don't know. I haven't finished it. So I'd like to do that sooner rather than later, so she doesn't have to twiddle her thumbs. But yeah. Also, everybody freak out. As soon as we're done with Alan's situation, she's gonna start working on the story of Gisborne, my previous favorite book of the 5. I say previous because right now Dusty holds my heart, but anyway, character-wise, Gisborne is still my favorite, but like book-wise, Dusty is making a solid comeback. Anyway, that's unrelated. The point is, we're drafted Alan this weekend, assuming Much doesn't take all of it, which he probably will, but it's fine. I also need to get reading my critique partner's stuff, because I haven't been doing that because I've been busy, but like, we're supposed to meet on Sunday, so I need to read a few chapters, at least. And the final thing I want to do is read. I brought a book to read. It's actually one that I'm vlogging, so I'd like to finish that vlog this weekend. So read a book, finish Much's nonsense, draft Alan. Oh, and read my critique partner's books. Yeah. 4 things, except Much's is like 12 things in one. Let's do this. First hurdle of the night. My computer does not recognize the grandparents' Wi-Fi. My phone did. It was like, oh yeah, I've been here before. My computer was like, nope, got nothing. So I have to call my grandmother now. Okay, I've gone through the first chapter, which is to page 20 of the book. It's not 20 pages long, mind you, but I have the front matter, like the title pages and the foreword and the dedication and all the things at the beginning. So we've made it all the way to page 20 of 579. We didn't cut anything other than like 3 words here and there. But honestly, the first chapter is very strong. It's a solid scene that introduces Much and his dependency on Robin and his like self-deprecating, meek, timid, like passive self. So that's great. And like smack dab in the middle of that scene is a flashback to the moment that Much's misbelief, like the wounding whatever, now he believes this lie that he has no worth. Yeah, it's a flashback to that moment in his life. And it's a decent sized flashback, but it's not too long, I feel like. And also the transition into it and out of it, I think is solid. This is a really good first chapter. I actually feel really good about it, which is a nice feeling, because last week and the week before and probably the whole month of August, I'd reached a point where I kind of hated this story and I thought it was boring and awful. But this first chapter is absolutely solid and I love it. I've also started taking notes, which say the exact same things that I just said. Yeah, I'm writing down each scene as I go through it, so that I can get a good grasp, you know, like talking it out, writing it out is, I think, helping me process whether the scene should stay. And everything in chapter 1, I think, stays. I've gone through chapter 2, and I don't know, there's 2 flashbacks in this chapter. The early chapters have a lot of flashbacks. I think the one in chapter 1 works really well. I don't know about these other two. I really like them. One of them is from the original book. One is one that I just added. I don't know, you guys. So the entire chapter is basically the 2 flashbacks. There's 2 very brief moments in the present, which is basically just like setting the scene of where Much is as he's reminiscing to flashback. Debatably, I could cut this entire chapter. But I don't want to. Let me just cry first. The first flashback is kind of pointless. It's when Much moves into Robin's room and starts sleeping on a pallet next to his bed, so he's always nearby if Robin needs anything. But Robin has a book and is like, it's, you know, in Latin and I have to learn it and you have to learn with me because I don't want to do this alone. Robin's kind of being selfish, but he does insist that Much learn alongside him so he doesn't have to do it alone, and so Much gets the education of a young lord, basically. He does everything with Robin growing up, and so he knows like 4 or 5 different languages, and like he can fight with weapons, he can ride a horse, like he can do everything that Robin can do, because as a child Robin was like, I'm not doing this alone. So yeah, it's basically a scene that's like emphasizing Robin's mostly unintentional selfish nature, because he's not trying to be malicious, you know, he's just kind of oblivious and self-centered. But then it's also like showing Much's like upbringing. And then there's also a moment when when Much walks into the room for the first time that he's like, whoa, because he's been living in the servant quarters, which are very different sized. And so like he has a moment of like, I don't belong in here. And then the second flashback is a scene where Robin wants to go to Weatherby, which is the village where Marion lives, and the Earl lets him go, but he is rude to Much about it, so Much goes to the kitchen with Sarah, who's like the woman who raised him. She's a servant, but she's the only mother that Much has ever known, because he doesn't remember his actual parents. Anyway, story-wise, I couldn't necessarily justify the second flashback, which is actually the one that was in the original book. I think I'm gonna cut it, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. There's some cute stuff in here, like when Robin's like, where's my cloak? And Much is like, it's on its hook. And Robin's like, I thought I left it on the floor. And Much is like, you did. I hung it on its hook. Because that's my job. Anyway, there's some cute stuff in this flashback that's from the original book, which is why it's still in this new version, even though I was cutting stuff. And now I'm cutting more I can't believe I'm about to do this. Cat sighting. First one in the 2 hours I've been here. I literally had to go shake his treats to get him to come out. I thought he wasn't even here. I went, I thought, to every room and was looking around, but I couldn't find him. And there he is. Can't believe I deleted that flashback, but I deleted it. And then I read over chapter 3, which is Robin declaring he wants to go on the Crusades, and then the farewell to Sarah. Both of which are perfectly fine scenes that could stay. The very end is like a couple of paragraphs of like, their journey was uneventful and now they're over. So, I don't know about that, but I can't play with that yet until I look at chapter 4, because I know chapter 4 is entirely a flashback of the children, the 4 children, Much, Marion, Mark, and Robin. That's a lot of M's. Playing in the secret passageways in the castle. Marion has been name-dropped a couple of times because of Robin, so she's in the story, and honestly, Much wasn't close to her because she was a lady, the daughter of the sheriff. Like, he didn't feel himself an equal, and yeah, keeps his distance. So, I mean, it's okay if we don't establish that relationship. And the secret passageways, I could break down into like a sentence memory, like when Nottingham Castle is mentioned, there could also be, because it's mentioned a couple times, there could be just a line of, like, much remembered playing in the secret passageways with Mary and Mark and Robin, you know, like, it doesn't have to be a whole scene. So, I'm going to read the scene of chapter 4, but most likely cut the whole thing, and then I will look at the transition of the paragraph at the end of chapter 3 to what is currently chapter 5, but will become chapter 4, before I mess with that paragraph, if that makes sense. Update. You're gonna get a lot of me sitting at this table. I did delete the castle scene altogether, but I took a paragraph-ish of description and just added it to the end of chapter 3, because when they arrive in Dover, he sees the castle, and then he started reminiscing about the Nottingham Castle, and then that's why I flashed back. But I got rid of the flashback and just used the, I used the castle into a sort of transition into a memory that's not a flashback. I did send a plea to my writing group to see if anyone would want to brainstorm this with me, because I'm talking to the camera an excessive amount, but the camera's not giving feedback, and I feel like I need someone to bounce ideas off of so they can, like, chat back at me, which you can't do. You're so unhelpful. Listen, I love you all, and I love the comments you leave on my videos, and I much appreciate that you watch them, but also not helpful in this current moment. So, anyway, yes, I sent a plea, but no one's taken me up on that. But I feel like I just need someone. Like with the other scene, the childhood scene that I really didn't want to cut, but then I did. Like, I feel like I needed someone to hear the scene and then be able to talk back to me about whether or not I should keep it, you know? You know, we're doing great. We've deleted 8 whole pages so far, but, like, I don't know. Maybe there's more I could be deleting. Maybe I've deleted too much. Maybe those scenes meant the world to this book, and now no one will ever read them. I don't know. Yeah. Blah. I might actually use that childhood scene that I deleted as, like, I don't know, a newsletter thing, maybe, or something. I'd love for people to be able to read it. I've also been considering getting a Patreon, and having, like, various things on there that you know, if you pay me, I'll give you stuff. So if I did get a Patreon, I could put that scene there. Not the castle scene, because it was kind of pointless, but the scene with the Earl and Robin and Sarah that I really didn't want to cut, but then I did. I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be a very long vlog, and I'm sorry. Okay, I've done 10 chapters. We are 99 pages in. You know, what would be a solid third of a normal book, but not this one. Whew, yeah. I haven't cut anything else. We're in the thick of the Crusades at this point, and almost every scene is, like, important so far. So we have the Sicily stuff where we're rescuing Princess Joan, which is important because she's a character that hangs around. We have a scene where they're briefly run aground on Cyprus and imprisoned there, which may or may not be important, but historically it happened. And for the Crusades, I literally have them following, like, every step that they went on historically. So yeah, I'm leaving, it's fine. That's also where the king, sorry, that was my critique partner. Someone was finally responding to my plea for help, but I don't want to chat tomorrow. I would like to talk this out with someone. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, so running aground on Cyprus is staying, and what I was saying is that that's when the king actually marries Berengaria, which is important for later because the bulk of the crusading forces are made up of King Richard's soldiers and King Philip's soldiers, and when King Richard married Berengaria, he kind of alienated Prince Philip because, or King Philip, whatever his name is, anyway, because King Richard was supposed to marry the Princess of France, and he called off that engagement to marry Berengaria instead, and so Philip leaves the Crusades very shortly after arriving in the Holy Land, because he's mad, basically. Which, you know, is a huge blow to the crusading army and changes what they're going to do, and therefore very directly affects what Much is doing. So anyway, all that is to say, marrying Berengaria is important, so we are running around on Cyprus, and here we are. And then there's the arrival in the Holy Land, and then there's the flag snafu when the Duke of Austria puts his standard up on the wall. This is historical. And King Richard gets mad about that because how dare the Duke put his standard next to the King's, and King Richard tore down the standard and was like, nope, this is not being here. And then the Duke was like, well, you're rude, which comes into play later because that's why the Duke imprisons all of them, and then my characters spend a year in prison. So, yes, all of this is vital information for what happens later. So I can't cut any of it. Let's see. Oh, and then we get news from home that the Earl is dead, which is definitely important information. We can't cut that. And then King Philip leaves, which, again, can't cut that. And then we are on our way to the next place, which was not a scene so much as just explanation. Yeah, and that's as far as I've gotten. So none of the Crusade stuff so far is, like, deletable. There might be some. So currently with the Crusade stuff, I literally have every historical battle that I could find in chronological order. So, I might potentially actually be able to cut some of that. Maybe we don't need every single scene, we just need the important battles, or... Sorry, I'm bleeding over here. Anyway, I felt that. It got sticky. That was weird. Anyway. Wow. I need to go to bed. It's only 9 o'clock. But I do have a head cold. I'm very distractible. What am I saying? There's a lot of battles. And maybe some of them are redundant and we don't need them. Maybe. Potentially. I'm not sure yet. We'll see as we keep going. But we're only down to 571 pages, you guys, and I need to cut more. I was hopeful that... hold on, the dog needs my help. Saturday's update. Hi. The old dog had to go out twice last night. One of those times being at 4 in the morning. So... not great sleep. I'm a little bleary-eyed this morning. It's gonna be fine. I also still have a stuffy nose, but my head feels clearer today, and we are gonna get through more than 10 chapters. Actually, it'd be great if I just finished Much today. And then tomorrow I could focus on drafting Alan, since I want to do that too, or, potentially, I could switch back and forth today, like, do a few Much editing chapters, and then draft a chapter of Alan, or something. I don't know. We'll see what I do. Who knows? I need breakfast first. I made it through the Crusades, which got me to chapter 16. None of it felt deletable. Honestly, there weren't enough battles for it to become redundant, and there were a lot of places that, honestly, I could add to. Like, it feels very skimmed over. It's like 3 years worth of fighting and traveling and fighting some more. And I get through all of it in like 13 chapters. Short chapters, mind you, because I try not to have chapters longer than 10 pages. We're not going to be able to cut this book down, is what I'm hearing myself say. But we are on the march home, which actually gets interrupted by the imprisonment. My critique partner did say that the one place that there might be scenes to delete was the imprisonment. She loves everything else and was like, we don't get rid of things, but she didn't say any specific scene. She was just like, the imprisonment would be the place they might be able to delete stuff, so hopefully that's true, and I will have some things to delete. Although I felt like the imprisonment went way too fast the first time I did the rewrites. I don't remember how I felt during the edits. I kind of hated Much's story during the edits, but during the rewrites, I felt like the imprisonment was like over in a chapter or two, and that just felt wrong, because it's a year of trauma. We'll see when I get there. I don't know. We have to march first. Okay, that was exactly what I thought it was. They get thrown in prison at the end of chapter 19, and they escape at the end of chapter 21. There's nothing there to delete. There's plenty that could be expanded upon. Like Alan's anger at Much lasts like a couple of pages, and then he apologizes, which is actually weeks worth of content because Alan was angry for a very long time. I just didn't have other scenes to add at the time that I wrote it. And I don't want to add any now because I'm trying to shrink this book and not grow it. But anyway, the point is, nothing there felt deletable. It felt like there could be more to it. Much just wants to have the biggest book on the planet, basically. Update. We are in the Sherwood shenanigans now, and I did delete a page. Just one. But we're down to 570. 40 more pages to go. Okay, I was on a prickle, and we've cut down to 568, which is not nearly as far as I would like to be. We're on chapter 44. That's my update. We're breezing through fairly easily because I'm just like bird's eye view looking at the scene and being like, what's in here? And then writing it on my piece of paper and saying, is this important or not? I might actually go back as soon as I finish this, like actually skimming the manuscript itself. I might go through my stack of papers that say what all the scenes are and just like look at them and be like, but is this important? I don't know. I haven't cut scenes lately. I've been cutting little paragraphs or like extra fluff that's in between scenes. Like there's a couple of scenes with like the 6 kids that are stuck in the camp for a year because they were going to be executed because the sheriff is crazy, and the gang just keeps them. Like, we'll raise the kids, it's fine. Anyway, yeah, I have a few random scenes in here where Much is like entertaining the children or whatever, but that's not super important, so I've been cutting those down. Some of them are cute, you know, it's cute, but like, I don't need a 600-page book. So the cute kids are the first thing to go. I'm not cutting all of it, but yeah, that's what I cut the last 2 times. Anyway, we're on page 422 right now. So about 145-ish to go. Hopefully I can cut some in that 145-ish, because I still have to go back and add more description to rescuing the king. And I do want to add an Arabic scene so that, I'm not cutting enough, you guys. I'm not cutting enough. We are down 11 pages from where I started. So, you know, I have cut a decent amount, but it's not enough. left off yesterday on chapter 44. Never came back to it. Being sick this weekend really put a damper on all my grand schemes. But anyway, my nose is less stuffy today. It's just red and weird looking now because I rubbed it raw. It's fine. We're gonna finish going through these chapters. There's like 12 more chapters to go through or something. It's not a big deal. So we're gonna do that. And then I will reassess what I need to do, or if I need to do anything. Because honestly, if there's nothing else to cut down, I'll get over it. I found the rescue of the king when we sneak into an entire castle and get him out with no resistance. It's literally 3 pages long. I am definitely adding to this nonsense. Also, yes, there are 247s because as I've been, now there's 248s. As I've been editing along, I added a chapter somewhere in the beginning, like chapter 4 or something. While I was cutting scenes, I added a chapter. Don't ask. I haven't added any scenes yet. I've just been cutting. But I added a chapter somehow. I think one of them was too long, so I split it in half, maybe. I don't know. But yes, until I get to the end, there will always be 2 of a number as I go through. But we're almost to the end, so it's fine. Okay, I made it to the end. Don't mind my pile of disgusting Kleenex. We actually went up a page because I found one of my brackets, and we can't have those, so I dealt with it immediately so I didn't forget about it. It literally said, like, descriptions as we enter the city or something like that, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll describe the city. But that puts me up to 569 pages. So, yeah, it's fine. I was supposed to meet with my critique partner this afternoon, but I've been sick, so I haven't been reading her book, and she's going through physical stuff, so I don't know how much of my book she's been reading. So I don't actually know how helpful either of us will be to each other if we meet today. Plus, I'm currently sick and just not in a good headspace, you know, to be productive and talking to people. I really should not be filming this whole weekend, but I am, so here you go. You get my disgusting self. It's fine. Anyway, the point is I may or may not do that call. I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna eat something and then see if I feel human enough to do that. Yeah. That's what I got. I don't know. I don't know what to do with cutting stuff. But I did get to the end, so the next thing is running it through Pro Writing Aid, chapter by chapter, and hoping Pro Writing Aid is like, there's so many filler words you can cut. And I'll be like, great, thanks, let's do that. Otherwise, it may just sit at 569 pages. It's fine. It's a big book. Deal with it. Oh, just kidding. I'm not using Pro Writing Aid. I've broken it. This is all it will do. I don't have the brain power to deal with a broken Pro Writing Aid, so I'm calling it a day. I just edited all of the clips together, and this vlog so far is 47 minutes long. Which is too long. I may cut it down, or I may split it in 2. Not sure what that will look like yet, but it's about 1:30 in the afternoon. I've had a break from using my brain for a bit. Played some more piano. Didn't film it this time because that was getting a little ridiculous. And now I'm going to chapter 47 when we rescue the king in 3 pages, and I'm going to add to it. I have cut a few more things. Pro Writing Aid and I are still not talking to each other, but it's okay. I'll figure that out. Yeah, anyway, we've gone down a few pages, and now I'm going to add some pages, and then, I don't know, when we have a final word count, I'll maybe give you that. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it, to be honest. I think the story is very strong now, with the things that I have cut out, and in some ways it feels like I'm streamlining it, but, like, the book is still almost 600 pages, which, like, doesn't sound streamlined at all. It's just a massive book. But I feel like it's because there is so much content that Much's book could really be 2 separate books. Like, he could have the Crusades as a book, and then the Sherwood Shenanigans as a book. but that's not what's happening. So yeah, I think I've come around to the idea that his book is massive, and it's okay because everything that I've left in here is valuable to the story. So it's fine. Now I'm going to add to this, like, Save the King nonsense. And I'm going to stop talking because this video is already an hour long. Okay, it's 6 pages now. Could probably be more, but I feel better about it. Okay, actually, I wasn't done. I went back because I'd forgotten to add an Arabic conversation portion, which I was going to do. So I did that. I added that to the breaking into the castle thing. So it's now... Let me see how long. I'm really glad I added that. I feel like it adds something to just have the learning of Arabic to actually mean something to the story at large and not just be like a cute little thing that they all did, you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages now, which is about the size of my chapters usually. I feel good about this. This was a very successful Sunday. Pro Writing Aid is a wizard. I suggest it for everyone. That's all I have to say about that. We are at 490 pages. I'm feeling really good about the story. I think it's solid. I don't think anything else needs to be cut. I do think there's a couple places I could actually add to and strengthen, which I'm not afraid to do now that it's not as scary a word count, I guess. I don't know. What I want to do now, before I upload everything and like be done with it, is read through it one more time just as a reader without my editing eyes on, and just read it to see if it's enjoyable to read, basically. But otherwise, I think I'm done. Tomorrow, which is Monday, is the day that I said I wanted to be uploading it. So tomorrow I will upload it. Yeah. And we're ready for Friday, you guys. We're actually ready for publication, and it's fine, and nobody's panicking, and we did it. Yay! Go us! I think I'm done here. I'm gonna call this the end of the vlog, because it's an hour long, and whether or not I cut it down into 2 videos, there's plenty of footage to enjoy. So, there you go. We're done here. That was vlog 32. The Legend of the Thief is out in the world. There's a link in the description that will take you to all of the distributors, ebook and paperback. The Journey of the Peacekeeper is coming on Friday. I don't actually know. Let's see. If I keep this as one video, you're coming out on Tuesday. So yeah, I've got a couple of days, and then The Journey of the Peacekeeper is coming. I would just check the description and see what you find. And now we get ready for Dusty's publication. Get excited.